The monster showed up just after midnight.
I was awake when it came. I had a nightmare.
Well, not a nightmare. The nightmare. The one with the darkness, and the wind, and the screaming.
Connor!
The one with the hand slipping from his grasp.
Don't let go!
The one that always ended with,
No!
I glanced at the clock. 12:07. I told no one about the nightmare, not Mom and certainly not Grandma. What happened in it was something no one needed to know. Something was calling my name. I felt a rush of panic. Had it followed me? And somehow stepped out of the nightmare and there it was again. It sounded like a monster. But it couldn't have been. Monsters were for babies, and I just turned 13. Wide awake now, I pushed back the covers, got out of bed, and went over to the window. In the pale half-light of the moon, I saw
the ancient yew tree in the center of the backyard. Connor.
And then I saw it.
Branches of the tree twisted around one another, creaking and groaning until they formed an intricate root system.
The rest of the tree turned itself into a spine, and then a torso. The uppermost branches gathered themselves into two long arms, and a great and terrible face.
And then it spoke.
Connor O'Malley, I have come to get you, Connor O'Malley.
A real monster in waking life come to get me. But I didn't run. I wasn't even frightened. Because this wasn't the monster I was expecting. I shouted, so come and get me then!
You're really not afraid?
No, not of you anyway.
You will be. Before the end!
And the last thing I remembered was the monster's mouth roaring open to eat me alive! It had been another dream.
What else could it have been?
Mom?
But she wasn't there.
Which meant she was probably still in bed, and I would have to make my own breakfast, something I'd grown used to doing. It was some time before she made her way downstairs.
Connor,
Yes, Mom?
you've had breakfast
Yes, toast, cereal, and juice, and I put the dishes in the dishwasher.
and took the garbage out, I see.
There's laundry going, too.
You're a good boy. I'm sorry I wasn't up.
It's okay.
It's just that this new round of...
It's okay. She hadn't yet tied her scarf around her head. Her bare scalp looked too soft, too fragile in the morning light. It made my stomach hurt to see it.
It hadn't been that long since everything was so different. So normal.
I forgot to tell you, your grandma's coming tomorrow.
Mom!
It's only for a few days, then it'll be just you and me again.
Mom, she's so...
You're a good boy, Connor. I just wish you didn't have to be quite so good.
That night, I lay in bed, wide awake, watching the clock on the bedside table until
12:07.
then it came.
Connor O'Malley, I have come to get you.
Who are you?
I have had as many names as there is time itself. I'm everything that ever is, was, or will be. And once in a great while, I come walking.
So what do you want from me?
It is not what I want from you, but what you want from me. Here is what will happen. I will tell you two tales from when I walked before. And when I'm finished, you will tell me a third. And it will be the truth.
And before I could blink, the monster began.
Long ago,
There lived a kind and generous king.
His queen gave birth to a son, and the kingdom rejoiced in the young prince.
but soon after, the queen fell sick,
for myself.
And remarry he did.
To a beautiful princess from a neighboring kingdom.
One day, the king grew ill.
That he was being poisoned by his new wife, who many believe to be a witch.
And when he died, the queen became regent and would handle all affairs of state.
Until the prince was old enough to take over.
At first, to the surprise of many.
Her reign was a good one, yes.
Meanwhile, the prince had fallen in love.
With the farmer's daughter.
The
Kingdom smiled on the match.
The queen, however, did not.
Sensing his stepmother's wickedness, he vowed to run away with his new bride, but to return on his 18th birthday, to free his people from the tyranny of the queen.
Hooray!
One night, the prince and his bride
Raced away on horseback.
Stopping to sleep in the shade of a giant yew tree.
In the morning, the prince awoke.
But his beloved did not wake. He shook her, and it was only as she slumped back that he noticed the blood staining the ground.
The queen is responsible for this treachery.
The prince was desperate.
In the distance, he could hear villagers approaching. If they found him with blood on his hands,
They would surely put him to death for his crime.
The queen would be able to rule unchallenged.
there was nowhere for the prince to run,
The yew tree was his only shelter.
and the only place he could turn for help.
He lifted his head to the great yew tree and spoke.
And what did he say?
He said enough to make me come walking. I know injustice when I see it.
The queen has murdered my bride. The queen must be stopped.
Rumors of the queen's witchery had been circulating long enough, and the young prince was so bewildered by the people that it took very little time for them to see the obvious truth
The subjects stormed the castle.
and seized the queen and dragged her to the stake to burn her alive.
The story is not yet finished. When the villagers put the flames on the stake, ho! I reached in and saved her.
You what?
I took her and carried her far away to a village by the sea. And there I left her to live in peace.
But she murdered the prince's young bride.
I never said she killed the maiden. I only said that the prince said it was so.
So who killed her then?
That night, while she slept under my shade, the prince remained awake.
You said he asked for your help and you gave it.
I only said he told me enough to make me come walking. He told me he did it.
For the good of the kingdom. I murdered my bride and framed the queen to overthrow a great evil.
That's a load of crap.
The injustice that I saw, the reason that I came walking, was for the queen, not the prince.
Who's the good guy here?
There's not always a good guy, nor is there always a bad guy. Most people are somewhere in between.
That's a terrible story and a cheat.
It is a true story. Many things that are true feel like a cheat.
Kingdoms get the princes they deserve.
Farmer's daughters died for no reason.
And sometimes evil queens deserve saving.
And what about my grandma? Can you save me from her?
It is not her you need saving from.
I walked downstairs to find my grandma in the kitchen. Tension had been building between us for some time, especially after she began staying over during Mom's treatments.
We need to have a talk.
What's wrong?
Your mother has to go back into the hospital, so you'll need to come and stay with me for a few days.
What's wrong with her?
There's a lot of pain. More than there should be. It's not working, Connor.
What's not working?
Connor, we need to talk about what's going to happen.
No, we don't. She's always fine after the treatment. She'll be better tomorrow, and then you can go home.
She'll seem better tomorrow, but she won't be, Connor. We need to talk to her about this. She needs to talk about this with you.
Why are you going back to the hospital?
I'm going to be okay, I really am.
Are you?
Look at me, son. This latest treatment hasn't been working. All that means is that they're going to have to try something else.
That's it?
Yeah, there's lots more they can do. It's normal, don't worry. I need you to be brave.
You're sure?
I'm sure.
Because you could tell me. No.
That's a yew tree, you know.
Yes, you've told me over 100 times.
Look after it while I'm away. Will you? Make sure it's still here when I get back.
5 days. The monster had come for 5 days.
I considered that maybe it didn't know her grandma.
Grandma's house was like a museum of how people lived in olden times. The sitting room was one of those sitting rooms where no one actually sat. And it was full of expensive things.
I wasn't allowed in there at any time. So of course, this is where I went to read a book while I waited for my grandmother to return from the hospital.
We need to have a talk. It's
I'm going to need you to do great. It's not working.
It's
Going to need you to do great. It's not working. I'm going to need you to be great. I'm going to need you to do great. I'm going to need you to be great. I'm going to need you to
Shut up!
Anger was filling my head. I could feel it grow hot, almost like I had a fever. I looked at my grandmother's prized possession.
A grandfather clock!
No! It chimed every 15 minutes, loud enough to make you jump if you weren't expecting it. It was only a moment before it would. It's waited midnight. I waited until the second hand glided around. 12. I grabbed the pendulum, holding it at the height when it was swinging. Then,
It's burning!
this was it. I was thinking how my grandma was going to kill me. Maybe actually, literally, kill me. When I noticed that the hour and minute hands had stopped at a specific time.
12:07. As destruction goes, this is all remarkably pitiful.
Am I asleep? Is this a dream?
I have come to tell you the second tale.
It's going to be as bad as the last one.
It ends in proper destruction, if that's what you mean. It is about a man who thought only of himself. It's punished very badly for it.
I'm listening.
There once lived
A greedy but wise old apothecary who could cure almost any manner of illness using the green things of the earth.
in that same village. There also lived
A parson who believed that the apothecary's methods were born out of superstition and witchcraft.
The parson had 2 daughters.
Who were Rabbi.
on the parsonage grounds grew an ancient yew tree, the most important of all the healing trees.
It can cure almost any ailment if mixed and treated by the right apothecary.
In order to harvest these things from the tree,
The apothecary would have to cut it
Down! And this the parson would not allow.
but then, one day,
The parson's daughters fell sick.
Nothing the parson did help. No prayer, no cure from the modern doctor. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee.
there was no other option but to approach the apothecary and beg forgiveness.
Won't you help my daughters? You may have the yew tree, you may have anything you like.
You would give up everything you believed in.
If it would save my daughters, I would give up everything.
And there is nothing I can do to help you.
And that very night, the parson's daughters died.
And that very night, I came walking.
Yeah, good. That fool deserves all the punishment he gets.
I thought so too. It was shortly after midnight when I tore the parson's home from its very foundations. Ah!
The parson, the apostle, whatever is the bad guy.
Is he?
Of course he is. He refused to help heal the parson's daughters and they died.
He was willing to throw aside his every belief that it would save his daughters. Ha!
So would anyone. So
give the apothecary the yew tree when it first passed.
You said that this was a story without any tricks.
I said this was a story of a man punished for his selfishness, and so it is. Tell me, Connor O'Malley, would you like to join in? It is most satisfying, I assure you.
A feverish feeling came over me. I could feel my breathing growing heavy, like I was the one doing the destroying. Knock over the fireplace. Smash the furniture. Tear the whole thing down. I was yelling as I did it, so loud I could hear myself saying, disappearing into the frenzy of destruction, just mindlessly smashing and smashing and smashing.
Now that is how destruction is properly done.
And suddenly, we were back in Grandma's living room. And I saw that I had destroyed almost every inch of it. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Destruction is very satisfying.
When Grandma walked in the house, I saw her face. Only her eyes moved, taking in the destruction of the sitting room in disbelief. Her mouth closed.